All right, everybody, welcome to the King's Capital. Seeking to glorify God through trading, building wealth, and just being excellent at a skill that no one can take away from you. Looking at DXY, we'll get into this real quick. Not going to look at too many pairs. It was a interesting week. It closed great, so I'm expecting great opportunities coming into this week, but it did feel like it was a bit of a mixed bag. Some wins, some losses. We roll with the punches. All right, looking at DXY, we had a great reaction off this zone. And if you're wondering why, last week when I made this video, I was looking at this zone. We're looking at it for a few reasons. We had just closed underneath this low. We had this breaker block right here. And 50% of that, I mean, we had a fair value gap. You know, I made a video on fair value gaps. Check out my Instagram at TheKingsCapital. And I have a couple things going on with not breaker blocks, but rather fair value gaps on that are worth checking out. You can also find me on Twitter at TheKingsCapital. And you're obviously watching on YouTube, so there you go. You know where I'm at here. But again, we had a great reaction. Price came down from this weekly close. It looks like it traded above and then pulled back into our zone. Breaker block plus came into premium, which is rather discount, my apologies, which is anything below 50% of the fib, right? On a PD array, we're looking at anything below, especially if you're in a buyer's market, below 50%. That is premium for us, or rather discount, my apologies again, and we have this fair value gap. So a few confluences adding up. We did get the close above the previous high, so my expectation coming into this week, if we can get one more pullback into here, is further longs on the dollar, which would mean sells on EURUSD, and the opposite on like USD-CHF. So that's what we're looking at. We got a very bullish dollar. We'll see how this week goes, but let's jump into EU real quick. This is looking crazy bearish. I was really hoping that we would get some kind of push up into this weekly fair value gap. I don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon. It's there, but that's fine. What we actually did get was price trading up into the bottom of this larger supply zone right here, or this the supply zone, sorry. Brain malfunctioning. It's Saturday. It's been a long week. Grateful for it nonetheless. But, so that's what we had. Price pushed right up. There was no real fair value gap or anything right here, but it did just hit this order block right here and then just died. Absolutely died. So let's take a look down at the daily. And I do believe I had a good trade on this, and then there was one I missed, right? So, again, price pushed up, kind of swept these highs, right? This would be a bit of a liquidity sweep right here. This white line was the order block I was telling you about on the weekly. So, again, price pushed up and then just died. I think I actually had a long on this week. Sometimes, it's hard to tell. It's hard to it's hard to remember from day to day. So, let's keep looking. Yep, hold on. Brilliant. Okay. Hourly. Here we go. So, right, I took this long right here, and here's the reason why I took this long. Let's go down to the 30-minute. I think we'll get a little clearer picture. Yeah, and I think we're even going to go down to the 15-minute. So, for a few reasons, I took this long, right? We had kind of closed over this right here. It came into session for me, which would have been New York session, and this looked bullish. So, I just got a message from my boy Rick. I said, hey, what should I be looking at? So we'll look at some crypto as well. Let's see what he's got. Casper and H-bar. Always Casper and H-bar. I got you, Rick. All right. So here's the reason why I took this, right? We had come into session. London had left us bullish, right? We had broken over, right? This is clearly bullish price action. And price dipped down into this fair value gap, right? Remember what we talked about in fair value gaps last week? So here's a method in trading fair value gaps. So we understand what they are. We understand that we have BC and SIBI. There's buy-side inefficiency or whatever right? So we have fair value gaps, right? So I explained what they were. 1, 2, 3 candles. We have a gap, right? The wicks aren't crossing. So here's a great way to know how to trade a fair value gap. And there's a couple ways to do it. You could set an order here with your stop all the way down here. This is kind of the ICT silver bullet technique, from what I understand. So there's one way to trade it. 1, 2, 3 candles. You set your order at the bottom of the third candle and expecting price to wick into this fair value gap with the stop below. You could do it below the bottom here, or you could do it below this the initial candle, the first candle, the fair value gap. The other way to do it quickly, real quick, is if you're looking for more of a confirmation play. Where's my trade? There it is. Okay, cool. The other way to do it is just to dip down to a lower time frame. Just to make sure that price isn't going to turn around on you, and start looking for, and this is going to be another video actually, because to find a swing point, you need 1, 2, 3 candles, but the best entry is going to be found on that fourth candle. Did that fourth candle go green in this scenario and give us somewhat of a bullish candle? Yes, it did. So the trade was around here. I don't know if I put this in the right place or not, to be honest, but this is where I took the trade essentially on the close of this candle, because we had 1, 2, 3 candles right here that gave us our swing low, right? And then that fourth candle right here gave us a bull signal. So 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth candle was a bull signal. So that's where I went long, and then price continued to jump, right? That was awesome. Great trade. I went long on that. As far as targets being set, let's get back to where we need to be. Wow, why did price jump all the way over there? I was just targeting the previous high right here, right? So that's all I was doing. Price came up into this zone and then continued to sell off. Now, the reason why did it sell off is for the reason, that I had stated when we looked at the weekly, is that came up into the weekly supply zone or order block. Now, I missed that trade. And then there was another trade that came from it that I missed, and I'm very sad about. Sorry for this messy chart, but this is literally a week's worth of just charting up and finding trades. But I want to talk about this one, because this one is a textbook. This is the textbook trade right here. This is like textbook OTE, right? So let me clear this off for you. So here's the trade I missed. I should have taken this, and I just didn't. It would have been an amazing 12 pip stop for, if you're just targeting the bottom of the range, you're looking at, a 1 to 3.5, which is awesome. If you had held this trade, see if I can get this. Sorry. Like I said, super messy chart. We're going to clean this up and then break down why this trade was textbook. Right. A 1 to 6.5, guys. Cool. Here we go. Let's start fresh. Start fresh. We don't even need this fib anymore. We don't need the 4-hour order block thing anymore. Right. Here's why this was textbook sell. Not only did price come down, right? So obviously we created now bearish order flow here, down, lower high, lower low, but this lower high right here created an order block or supply zone, right? Now if we pulled our fib, actually before we pull our fib, let's look at something else. So let's say we didn't know what was happening here. Let me go to the bar replay real quick. Is it hiding behind something? No, bar replay right there. Cool. Let's just say we were here in price, right? We know, okay, awesome. Bearish order flow, high, low, lower high, lower low, right? And what we started to do was create these equal highs across here, right? So this is textbook ICE, like OTE, whatever, right? So now we know that this is creating equal highs. This is super clean. We know that there's probably stop losses above this, right? Or if there's a breakout trader looking to buy this for some reason, he's got a stop buy above that, right? So this is why this trade worked so well and why I'm sad I missed it. The reason I missed it is I just don't trade on FOMC. I just don't. Like that day, I don't touch anything. I don't trade on that day. And that's okay. So I don't regret, well, I little regret not trading that day. I missed out on some money, but here's why it worked, guys. Bearish order flow, order block created. What we could have done from this point is pull our fib. Okay, so anything above 50% is our premium if we're going for sells, right? It's where we would like to sell. So we had come into premium. We created these equal highs. Now, OTE is really kind of the 61.8. And a lot of smart money guys, it's kind of in this zone. But the other theory behind it is just 50% of the order block, right? So kind of in the 78.6, 88.6 level. That is like your optimal trade entry. Really, it's anything above 61.8, but this is really our zone right here. So let's go one more bar. Let's see where that gets us. Cool. Boom. So with this is one of those things where, it's tempting to just place an order because price is so clean. We obviously have liquidity above these equal highs right here. And it's not always equal, but there's somewhat equal highs. We know there's going to be liquidity or just money sitting in the market over there, whether it's, again, stop buys or stop losses for sells, which are stop buys, right? And they'll happen because of breakout traders. They'll happen because of whatever. But this is textbook right here. Bearish order flow, order block, clean highs right here that need to be liquidated, and then pull up into the 78, 88 level. And then what happens next? It dies, guys. It just freaking dies. This was a textbook trade. Congratulations if you got it. I didn't because I just do not trade. I just don't trade that. But how could we have, maybe how could we have traded this on the 5-minute? This one looks a little harder, honestly, looking at this. Like if we were to push up, we saw this, cool, kind of broke this low. Now here's another theory. When we're talking about swing highs and swing lows, yes, we need 1, 2, 3 candles, right? So let's say we saw this happening. Okay, 1, 2, 3 candles. But the fourth was bullish. Okay, so no go right there, right? 1, 2, 3 candles right here. Maybe we think, okay, it's just pulling up a little. 1, 2, 3 candles. But the fourth is bullish. All right, well, let's try this again. 1, 2, 3 candles. Cool. We got a bearish engulfing right there. Now, in order to confirm this as a swing high point, is this fourth one bullish or bearish? It's bearish, right? So hypothetically, what we could have done is gone ahead, put our order in there. Probably just a market order. Forgive me. I'm not really great on the laptop, honestly. I don't love my iMac is just too old and sad, right? And so what we could have done is just put our order there. What would the stop loss have been? What is that? 20 pips. Honestly, that's not a bad stop loss in forex. That's perfectly fine. And then just let this thing play out, right? What would have gotten us? Right? Let's say we were targeting like a bullish fib right here. Let's say we're minus 618 extension, right? That's still a 1 to 3.5, guys. That's a phenomenal trade. One of the biggest problems I think we have as traders is we just want to squeeze every dollar out and just get greedy, right? We don't need to get greedy. But that's one way you could have taken that trade, and I missed that trade. So more importantly, what do we have coming up this week? What is the trade that's going to happen? What do we need to do coming into this week to find ourselves in a profitable position? What I'm going to do? I'm just going to go ahead and remove all drawings from this chart real quick. Clearly got a daily bearish close like that, so we're just looking for a bearish play. So the first thing I would do is hope that, let's say coming into this week, that our first day or something like that, we create maybe another doji candle like this, right? Maybe something similar next to it. And what I want to see is a pull up into we've created a 4-hour fair value gap right here. So what I would want to see then is a pull up. Now, hypothetically, if you have big money, you can have big stop losses. Could you hypothetically just put a silver bullet kind of trade entry right here, right? Just kind of at the start of this fair value gap, stops way above here or something like that. And yeah, you can. I think going into this week, our best play is if we can kind of kick around here for a second and then pull up into our supply zone right here, our order block, followed by continued downside. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Stop that. There we go. Cool. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. I want to see this order block get hit. If at maybe not 50%. 50% would be ideal. But assuming we don't go any lower, which we could, but if we can just kind of hang around this zone, I think anywhere around the 61.8 into this order block is fine. What we're looking for is, what we want to see again is that 3 candle pattern to kind of start seeing a swing high being made. And if that fourth one is bearish and you're looking for that kind of entry, then that would be my entry. I would go for that for sure. I'd start looking for it on probably the 15-minute or something like that. That would be I really like the 15-minute a lot. But this is not trading, or rather this is kind of trading advice. This is not financial advice, right? So I'm going to put that disclaimer in there. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you how to train or whatever. This is just what I'm looking for, right? That would be my trade style going into this. I'm looking for price to pull up into premium right here. And then I want to sell in premium. So that's my play looking at EU. We'll jump out to that 4-hour one more time again, just so everybody knows. We have bearish order flow, and I want to see price push up above this 50% somewhere in this order block and start to turn around, and then I want to take a sell there. So we did have a great USDJPY sell. I'm sad. My trading challenge account, right? I had this trade on, but I was already in Euro USD, and I was also in NAS, and they were all profitable. And I thought, well, before the news hits, I forget what day it was. It was like there was something coming out, right? It wasn't FOMC. It was a different news. Whatever came out around Wednesday, right? Whatever news that was, I was like, no, I'll close UJ and just take the little profit I have, right? I think I was probably somewhere around here. I was like, I'll just take that because, hypothetically, the news could come out and stop me out, right? What I should have done is just not been afraid to lose money, put my stop at break even, right? Because I had a phenomenal entry. Let's go ahead and we can look at that entry actually really quick. And one of the great things, again, look at, here we go, break, right? We have a super bearish candle. We pulled up into the bottom of this order block right here, right? Let me just mark it out for you real quick. There's the bottom of our order block, and it literally just tapped it right there and then turned around. So let's jump down to the 1 hour and see why I took this trade. And I took it for the same reasons I took the other one. So we have 1, 2, 3 candles. We have kind of so not only the top of or about the bottom of that order block, but we also had a breaker block. And let me break down this breaker block real quick. So the idea of the breaker block is this was like the last bearish candle before this strong bullish push, right? So this hypothetically is an order block, right? But we break through that, right? We trade through that. We confirm that's no longer an order block. And so what it becomes is a breaker block essentially. And we pull up into that right here, which I had this away. And actually marked this out on the, I marked this out in last week's video. So if you want to double check me, I'm pretty sure I marked this out on last week's video. So go test my homework. Am I lying? Nah, y'all. I had this marked out, right? What did price do? It came right back up. It traded into it, and it traded into it during my session, right? Here we are in New York session. Here was London session. We kind of moved sideways. And then it gave me what I needed. Let's find our candles right here. Cool. Broke structure right here. And then I think I traded this one on the 1 hour. Let's go over to that real quick because I think that gave me a more, I think I came to it just slightly late for some reason. Okay, right, here we are. So 1, 2, 3 candles, right? There's our swing high. The fourth one was bearish. Clearly, it was like a bit of a shooting star or whatever, right? And yeah, so on the close of that is essentially, all right, it closed that way, and then I saw this candle, and I was like, that's obviously rejecting also, and this is the first candle in my session, so straight away I just took that trade. And sadly I closed out there. Now my forex.com account, I held that one posted on my Instagram at TheKingsCapital. Go find me there. But clearly I had this trade in mind from the previous week, right? I wanted to see us push up into that breaker block, which was also the bottom of the, I believe it was the 4 hour. The 4 hour order block. So breaker block, order block. There's probably a fib there too, right? Let's go ahead and throw a fib on there. Right, and that was right at premium. That's where we want to start looking for price to turn around. So literally just another beautiful textbook trade. That one, unfortunately, was not on my challenge account. That was on my forex.com account, but that's fine. That's real money there. Cool. So what am I looking at going into this week? Well, let's go out to the weekly. We are kind of in this zone still. So on the weekly, this is bullish order flow still. So I do want to see some kind of pullback and further longs on this. And I love the way it kind of swept these lows, right? So this would be another kind of liquidity sweep thing. Right? It grabbed some liquidity. Oh my goodness. Look at, guys, we have another. How did I miss this? All right, we got a fair value gap right here. And what did price do? Oh man, it just barely missed it. But that's the same kind of concept, right? We're looking to this fair value gap because that's going to be where price is drawn to. We swept the liquidity. Let's call this basically tapping the fair value gap and pushing up pretty strong. So 4 hour, what are we looking at? I would love to see price trade here sideways for just a second. This is kind of the inverse of EU, honestly. And then I want to see price come into discount somewhere in here before further buys. Let's jump down to the hourly, see if we have something just a little more. We'll just mark this up this way for now. Cool. Yeah, guys, this is going in my playbook. This trade right here, that's going in my playbook. If you guys don't have a playbook yet, start developing one. Find the trades that were just textbook. They were easy. You made money on it, and that's a trade that you can identify and put it in your playbook, and then review your playbook. It's going to help you identify things in the market much quicker. So if you're constantly looking at, here are the trades that just play out beautifully, I make money on these, you understand them, they resonate with you, then put it in your playbook, look at it, because the market's going to deliver similar trades all the time. Excuse me. Right, so here's our hourly. Oh my goodness, this laptop, guys, sorry. Here's our hourly order block kind of right here. So I want to see price push down into there real quick at some point, maybe on Monday or Tuesday. Yeah, if we can kind of trade down into this zone, I'm looking for buys. So that's what I'm looking at for UJ. That's kind of the only two pairs I'm really looking at. USDCAD. Okay, so we kind of traded through this fair value gap up into here. Let me look at the data real quick. I didn't trade this, but that's looking pretty good, honestly. Again, similar kind of thing, like a liquidity sweep right here. Traded below. There's no fair value gap or anything that I'm seeing. There's a lower one on the weekly. Yeah, no, this is all pretty efficient right here, but we did kind of sweep these lows, stop losses below this level, and then just pushed hard. So, clearly I had this marked out for a sell because this was kind of bearish order flow with a break below that. But, yeah. Okay, well, let's see what we get. Let me clear all this out. Just kind of look at this clean real quick for y'all. But here's our high. So, I think this is where price is going. This is an old high. Our old low is going to be down here on the 4 hour. So this is our range right here, guys, right? This is going to be our range. So what I would like to do is see price kick down somewhere in here. Again, kind of similar to UJ. Let's see if we have anything interesting going on in the hourly. We do have... I'm not saying price is going to come down here. I think our first place to start looking for buys on UCAD, which I'm not 100% sold on, because I did hear about, refinery fires, and then there was another thing saying like crude's going to be going up. Like, I don't know. So the macro side of things, like, I'm not certain on what's going on with oil. But I would probably start looking in this zone. This isn't premium, but I'm also not seeing like a fair value gap or like a breaker or... No, actually I lied. This is a breaker. It's just a huge breaker. Hold on, let me find something different for y'all. Okay. Yeah, I want to think about this one for a little bit longer. Okay, yeah. All right, so I kind of like this zone. We do have this. This is a 30-minute, but let's draw out the hourly breaker, and then we'll dig in a little deeper from there. So we have this hourly, 50% of it. I think we're probably going to have like a 30-minute somewhere in that zone. Let me make this visible on the minutes. Cool. Yeah. So, and that's probably going to bring us back down into a discount market. So let me go ahead and throw that on there. Yeah. So honestly, somewhere around this 50% to the 61.8, that's where I'd start to look for buys. I'd start to see 1, 2, 3 candles forming for that swing low. And if that fourth one, if you're let's say you're playing the 15-minute, this is a lovely zone, honestly. Like this pause right here, it paused just before price broke out. So this is kind of your breaker area. This is the first place I'm going to be looking. So I'm going to set an alert on UCAD right there and just see what price is going to do. And then I'm not going to jump the gun. I'm not just going to place an order there. Is it possible price comes down to this area? Sure. So what I want to see first is I want to see maybe on the 5-minute or 15-minute price start to give me 3 candles that look like a swing lows forming. And again, if that fourth one is bullish, then yeah, I'm in. I want to find buys in this area. So that's what I'm looking at for UCAD. I wasn't expecting to look at this one, but I like it. Looks good going into this week. Let's look at some crypto. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I have any other requests. Casper, HBAR, Cardano. So the usual. Okay. And a fantasy league. No, I'm not going to join a fantasy league. All right, cool. All right, let's look at BTC. It's kind of the big dog, so we'll look at that, and then we'll do HBAR, Casper, and Cardano, which ironically are just all right there in order. So, cool. Big rejection in this fair value gap for BTC. We're still kind of in this demand zone, but honestly, I don't think it's looking good. I love that push up. That tells me that looks like a bit of a liquidity grab going on right there. And then my expectation, again, is just more downside still for BTC. Could I be surprised? Sure, but this is looking particularly bearish. And did we get that close? Hold on. Did we? Let me pull this up just to find out. Yeah, we got to close below this. I love candle closes. Wicks are important, yes, but what's most important to me when we're starting to talk about breaks of structure and stuff like that is actually where the candle's closing. So this candle barely closed, but it did close below this previous low, this old low. So yeah. So my expectation is probably more downside as we trade into it this week. Yeah, and we kind of, again, super bearish. So I want to see 16,000 on BTC. If we can go to 10, that'd be great. But I'll probably start dollar cost averaging around 16,000. And I probably won't dollar cost average BTC that hard. I'm probably going to go more into some of the alts because I think you're going to get a bigger bang for your buck. Cool. But the crypto this week, Bitcoin on the daily, if we could see a pull up into this supply zone, that'd be great. Yeah, I think this would be a great level to kind of trade into before further sells because I do think there's probably more downside. Let's jump out to the weekly and go to H-bar real quick. Man. And this is just sideways, guys. We just basically, we have a big range here, right? So if I pull this zone out just a little further, I know we got kind of conflicting things going on, right? We got more of a supply and demand zone here, and I guess, hold on, you know, we'll just make these, we'll make these the same. So maybe it'll be easier for everybody to see what I have going on. Right? Let's do that. Let's pull this guy. And this guy's fine, right? But we're kind of bouncing between this, right? We had this little pause in the market, push down into this area, push up back into that zone. Now we're in this zone. Like, this is just kind of going sideways. That doesn't look good. Honestly, this is super bearish looking at the moment. So again, just further downside, could we get a push up into this zone right here? And again, I'm looking at the weekly. Yeah, we can get a push up into there. This looks very corrective to me, right? Here's what impulsive candles look like. Here's what corrective candles look like. Right? Big candles, big extensions, and then very efficient, just chop up. Now, what tells me this is a really good sell is just this huge wick to the top side. That looks like it just grabbed some liquidity and is going to go. So that would be my expectation. First stop would probably just be right back down into our 4-cent zone. Oh, I got a crying baby. Listen, it happens, y'all. I'm a family man. We have crying babies. It just happens, right? Sometimes they're just tired. Sometimes they're learning how to stand, which my 7-month-old is now a standing cruising baby. So they fall and they bonk their head. It happens. She's okay. All right. Oof. All right, here's our daily zone. We've just kind of come into this. And there we go. So we're kind of in there. So could we see a bit of a rounded around a bottom here, push up into this? Now this is our, on the, I think it was on the weekly, this is our order block on the weekly, but on the daily we have a bit of a supply zone right here on this green candle. So yeah, I could definitely see a push up into that zone before a further downside. But again, honestly, guys, like, I'm not telling you what to do, but we're at the low side of this range, right? Let's say we just kick around in this range for a while. Let's bring up our fib, right? We're below premium. We're in discount. We're in a discount market according to this. So, you know, it's not the worst place. Not the worst place to buy. If you got money, if you're like me and you just dollar cost average into stuff, and when the bull market hits, cool, it takes off, like, and you just start selling when you're in profit, like I do. This is not the worst place, y'all. Casper. Again, just kind of choppy sideways. Did I get that push up? I didn't get that push all the way up into the middle of this order block, but it did push up into the bottom of it. We're still kind of in this zone. We have not closed below this old low, although we did close below this one. But again, I think with these, we're kind of looking at the same thing. So nothing new unless we start getting like a big push above this candle. There's really nothing that exciting happening right now. But if we did push above that, right, next stop would be kind of the bottom of this supply zone candle right there. We do have a bit of a fair value gap happening right there, and we haven't quite reached the top of it. So my guess is there's liquidity in there. We could grab it, but again, kind of more downside. Not the worst place to buy, but if we can get sub 3 cents on Casper, that'd be amazing. Cool. ADA. Just bearish, y'all. We're just in a zone. Okay, just kind of still just kicking around in the zone. let me draw this out for you, right? We have this zone here at the bottom, and then we kind of just have this zone right up here at the top. We haven't really created a second push up, but totally possible that we create a second zone up. But 25 cents at the low, honestly, I could see probably an 8 cent or a 10 cent Cardano again, if we continue just fizzling around. There's definitely room for us to go down. See, look at, dude, price just came down and grabbed that liquidity right there. There's room to come back down. Even below that, there is a bit of a gap in the market. And this is all kind of, we're just talking minutia right here, tiny zones, but cool. Yeah, we got a fair value gap right there that's not been really touched. And so 10 cents, I could see 10 cents again or something like that. But again, this is all, we'll see. This is bearish. It closed bearish below this low, right? We got to close right here. Or no, we don't have to close yet. We haven't closed it. This daily or this weekly closes tomorrow below, then, man, yeah. I would just expect more downside, probably back into this zone, 20-cent zone. So that's it for that. Let's just recap eurusd real quick. Again, just super bearish. There's no reason to think this is about to turn around and be crazy bullish. Yeah, we do have a little bit of a trend line going right here. Depending on how you want to draw it, we broke it, or maybe we haven't broke it. Just depends on how you want to draw it. If I was going to draw this, here's how I would draw this, though. I'd probably draw it there, like that. Right? Why am I not drawing it on this candle? I don't know. I've just found it to be more accurate when we've kind of cut it off a little bit, right? So this kind of tells me, yeah, I mean, this is just so bearish. So again, sorry, getting distracted. Here's the play I'm looking for coming in this week. I want to see a push up into this supply zone, followed by further downside, and then USDJPY, similar. If we can just kind of move sideways for a day and then push down into discount over here, this white line right here, that's our 1 hour order block. So if we can see a push down into there, that would be great. We also have the 4 hour right here, which is fine. So anywhere kind of below the 50%, I'm looking for price to give me a bullish signal. Same for USDCAD. I have a breaker block situation going on right here, so I want to see price go through this fair value gap, right? And honestly, here's our 4 hour fair value gap, right? If I was to extend this, it's a very large fair value gap right there. I mean, the breaker's just sitting right below this fair value gap. It's amazing how accurate price is, right? Just the very top of this candle is also the, like, I don't know. It's astonishing sometimes. So here's what I'm looking at. Come through this, fill in this fair value gap, trade into discount, and then push up. So, all right, y'all, that's it for the King's Capital. It is pizza and movie night for my family, so I'm going to go eat some pizza and watch a movie. I think we're doing Monsters, Inc. or something like that. But anyways, God bless you guys. Have a safe trading week. Be patient with your trading. I think there's some great setups, and honor the Lord with your trading. Peace.